I guess I thought I should take care. We are live. Good evening. I should be saying goodnight as I was about to go to sleep. And as I turned away and walked up the stairs, I realized I had to come back. So we're here. They just want to get going. They're not even giving me a chance to settle. This is Spiritualism with Dr. Thomas. This is almost 1 year. It's almost 1 year of me doing these channels. It was a year ago on Halloween. I laid in my bed and I said, okay, you want me to talk tomorrow? What the F am I talking about? Give me some clue. And as I laid there, closed my eyes in meditation, out came the message. A message I'd never thought of before. A message I'd never heard of before. But it had to be that way. Do you see? Do you understand? In this world and in this life, there are many things. There are many assumptions. You think of these things as coincidence. There is no such thing. What we put forth for you is synchronicity. We put it forth so you can experience exactly what you want to experience. And the real kicker is when it's done right, when you truly let it go, if you stand back and observe, and you start putting all the pieces together of your life, you will notice a pattern. We are the pattern in your life. What do we mean? What are we trying to say? When you yourself desire and want something, if it aligns with who you are, if it aligns with your soul and your heart, it is easy for us to bring it forth for you. But what we do is we bring it forth in the way that it is needed, not the way that is expected. But when you're truly aligned and you truly let go of expectations of the solution, what you will notice is how amazing things line up. And you can't figure out how. Because when you let it go, when you trust in yourself, when you open up your scope from this narrow view of this expected result and say, let it be, you give us full reign to guide you towards the amazing solution, which wouldn't be around if you were expecting this narrow view of an answer. He is fighting us right now. He's like, don't give personal examples. And we're going to anyways. Because why not? His life is full of them ever since he let go. I mean, us speaking tonight. That first channeled message. The things that he learned from it. There's no other way to explain where this information is coming from. His job, this house, will go one further for you. He's sitting on a bench right now. To his left is an office that he turned into a Zen room. He wanted like a small sofa that he could lay down in there. And he was impatient. He wanted it done now. So the bench he is sitting on, he bought it. It's too short, a little flimsy, but it worked. The other day, he was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, he saw the bench he wanted. For free. Extremely sturdy. He happened to be working from home that day, so he could take a lunch break to get it. He happened to get a random assistance to pick it up. He was able to perfectly put it in there, and it was exact right height. Extremely sturdy. And there. It's exactly what he was looking for. But the timing wasn't ready for it yet. And he already used it for a healing. Never used the one he's sitting on because it wasn't the right one. It's just a little example. He's still not letting us toe the personal stuff. He had a job. It wasn't what he wanted to do. He kept on looking for another job, and we told him to stop. So he did. He kept on saying to himself, this just doesn't seem right. Something's telling me not to do this. And it was us, because how about we communicate? He let it go. He knew what he wanted to do. He didn't want to do that type of sales. He wanted to be more consulting. He wanted to do more marketing. He wanted to do something different. But that was not the role, not what he was hired for. But we told him to wait. He let go. All of a sudden, the owners left. New leadership came in. A few other people decided to leave. Leadership changed again, all within a year. And then they came to him and said, "Hey, why don't you do this instead? Yeah, we'll give you more money." And he stepped back and said, "Oh, okay. This is what I've been wanting to do." And they're going to pay him more money. He just let go. He didn't try searching for another position, going somewhere else. He let it happen. And we were able to create it for him. The exact opposite is what happens when you don't let it go, when you worry, when you fret, when you see only limited solutions. Do you know what that triggers? That triggers your ego. We've talked about what the ego is. We did a whole month about this. The ego is run by the shadow self. It doesn't mean it's bad. We all have a shadow self. But the more power it gets, the less in balance you are. We go back to balance. Balance is not 50-50. Balance is 90, 95, and 5 or 10. Light and darkness. We all have the darkness in us. But balance of a human, balance of what we're going for is 95% light, 5% dark. But for many people, it's closer to 50-50 because they feel that's balance. And that's where the ego then has a say. Because the ego is a loud part of your consciousness. And the ego will always drive you to what is known. Where the soul will lead you to the unknown. Because how could he fathom that job coming up for him? He couldn't. It wasn't even a job at that company. They created it for him. In fact, he was then sold to another company. Didn't like that job. You know what happened again? We told him to stay. Yes, he lost the job, but was hired right back in a position that was exactly what he wanted to do. They created another position just for him. That thing does not happen when the ego's in charge. Those things never happen when the ego's in charge because the ego won't let it happen because you only have one expected solution. It's a narrow scope and it's got to fall in that window. We open it up for all the possibilities that are there for you. We want to share one more thing. Because this is the scary part of all this. Because you think it's scary. Because the ego just thinks it's scary. Take the picture we made him choose for the main picture of this talk. We often share a story or a parable of a person on their journey. We've done this before. We're going to do it again. When you're on your journey, you're traveling on this path and it's beautiful. And sometimes there's branches in the way, or you need to stop for food or whatever it is. But the challenge of the journey is you can't see what's 100 feet ahead of you. As you're climbing, all you see are the fog of the clouds ahead of you. And many times, and this is many of us, we reach a point on this journey where there's a clearing where the fog lifts and you are in this beautiful space. plenty of space, a water supply, there's food, there's everything you can want right there. And it's beautiful. And you're like, I've been on this journey for a while. I'm going to sit and rest. And your night turns into days. Your days turn into weeks. Your weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And you forget what was behind you. You forget the path you were on because you think you made it to the pinnacle of your journey. Oh, dear friends, you're barely off the ground. The mountain you are climbing, the path you are taking, is so tall, with so many ledges, so many beautiful places to stop and live. But you don't see it. Because what's next for you is never revealed until it's right in front of you. We're showing him right now, and we're going to have him say, if you haven't read The Journey Home by Lee Carroll, there is a map that everyone is given. A map that the main character is given. Now, the map he thinks doesn't work. Because all the map shows is where he is. And as he moves, he stays in the center of the map. But that within that 10 to 15 feet of him appears. So he can't see the path ahead on the map. He can't see where it turns. Can't see the dangers. Can't see the rewards. He's got to trust that he's on the path, that his team has him. We say the same to you. You can stop when you want. You can find a peaceful place and be. But know there is always something better in front of you. There's always more. What we are going to be doing next is talking about this path, this journey that you are on. How to navigate it. How to let it flow for you. How to make it go where you want it to go. We're just telling him this now, too. So he didn't know any of this either. We bid you all the best in love. And we thank you. Yesharat. Last year, the first channels were all about, in the beginning, there was love. When that was done, we turned to rebirth with this truth and light. And now we're going to your path, your way, to that truth and light. And I will listen. They want me to write. See, I have to say this out loud. They want me to write it down. I will. I have to. Okay. It's been 20 minutes. It's 11:30 my time. I thank you guys for watching. Feel free to always share this or put a note in the chat and say hi, whatever you want to do. But have an awesome evening. Good night. And I guess we'll be back soon with the actual like messages in parts. Okay. Thank you. Carlos, thank you. And good night.